What's up? What's up? So, how we took a company from zero to $223,000 in 7 months, and then I exited the company. Now, what's cool about that too is that this happened without any sales calls. Pretty much everything was WhatsApp messages. So, I'm gonna teach you everything. I'm gonna reveal everything, and hopefully, by you taking this breakdown, you could improve your business. You could make a lot of more money, and you could generate more clients. Now, this happened in 2020. Okay. Now you might be asking yourself, like, if 2020 it worked in 2020, like, would it work now? See, this worked for my client Oliver, which he is now generating a lot of clients pretty much and consistent 15K months. So 24 new clients, low ticket, and then now he transitioned into high ticket, and he's like pretty much generating a good amount of money. And this also worked with my client Nikhil, who generated $23,000 cash collected in 1 week, pretty much. And I'm going to show you how. I'm going to walk you through everything, revealing everything. Now, the topics that we'll cover, I took some notes because I'm someone who goes off on a lot of tangents. So I took some notes to put boundaries on what I'm going to talk about. One is going to be the best organic traffic mechanism, which got us 211 signups in 1 weekend, literally with one post. How to structure a sales process that keeps on selling for you as you sleep. The type of content that pre-sells for you. This is like my favorite, and personally. One offer tweak that will allow your offers to sell itself. Where most coaching businesses fail, and where the number one, actually the 1% win and create real wealth. And my biggest mistake, the one I wish I didn't make, because if I didn't make this mistake, I would have been in a completely different position in my life right now. So anyway, let's get the ball rolling. You're gonna see me looking over here a lot, because like here is where my iPad is, and I like to draw a lot of things, even though I'm not that good at drawing. So let's take everything step by step, pretty much. So, what is the best organic traffic mechanism which got us 211 signups? And what I'm gonna say is gonna sound like, well, obviously Arnold, but I'm gonna give you ways to build it up pretty quickly, because I've never, over decade of operating businesses, seen something more powerful, which is pretty much, this should be an M. So this is torture seeing me sit down and write. I should have been a doctor. But MVA, it's called building a minimum viable audience, pretty much. The best organic traffic mechanism to help you generate leads on demand is building a minimum viable audience. So, what do I mean by building a minimum viable audience? And a minimum viable audience shouldn't be a big audience, it shouldn't be a lot of people. For us back then in the business, it wasn't, it was just a couple of hundreds of people. But the key with it is that those people are the exact type of people that are open to listening about what you are presenting. They have the problem that you are talking about. They are aware of the problem. They are aware of their need to solve this problem. And usually, a minimum viable audience is like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people. And trust me when I say 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people is more than enough to help you generate six and multiple seven figures. Because if they are loyal and if they are very targeted, you will win. There is no way that you will not win. I could tell you about a lot of businesses that have been built through minimum viable audiences, but one of them is mine. I don't have a large audience on any platform, but what I have is a core audience. I even like my first $7,000 sale paid in full came from a email list of 24 people. 24 people. But the thing is that the 24 people came and joined my email list because they were very interested in what I had to say. So, a minimum viable audience, people who are very interested in what you have to say. Now, how do you build out a minimum viable audience? We have multiple ways. This is the traffic diamond, if you want to look at it. The first path is going to be ads. So, not conversion ads, sorry, traffic ads, awareness ads, ads that gets people into your world. Now, I'm not going to go deep into how to do that because it's not the point. It's not what I focus on. You have organic, you also have outbound, and you also have PR. So when we talk about organic, we talk about specific types of content that when people see, they know exactly that you are the person that they want to be following. We're going to cover that over here. So point number three. And when I talk about outbound, this is the biggest mistake that people look at. And this is why a lot of people hate outbound. And honestly, like I just started LinkedIn back again a week ago. And now I have three warm leads in my inbox telling me about their problems and opening up about coaching with me. Right now, I could open my Facebook, and at any moment, I have 7 to 10 people in my inbox, warm, opening up. They want to work with me, telling me about their problems and what they're experiencing. Do I follow any outbound strategy or magic script or whatever it is? No. The problem with most people is that when they do outbound, and this is like, let me just help you fix this outbound. I don't know why people struggle with it so much. When people do outbound, they equate outbound with sales. So they do the outbound. So they do the outbound with this thing in their heads is like outbound equals making money, equals sales, equals generating clients. And if we're not generating clients and if we're not making sales directly from the outbound, it's not working. Or leads, it's not working. But in reality, outbound isn't sales, isn't conversions. Outbound for me, and why I have warm leads in my inbox at any moment, is outbound equals traffic. Like, which strategy in this world allows you to go find specific people in specific places that are perfect in your target market, get them into your world to see your content? Which would, I don't know what does that. Very few things do that. Very few things do that. Like, you can laser target people through your outbound pretty much to get traffic. Now, what happens is when this traffic goes into your world, now you can do whatever you want with them. You can expose them to your content. You can expose them to your work generally. So, lead magnets, trainings, whatever it is. You can invite them. So, quick example, Nikhil here, over here. Nikhil, we set up for him a conversion mechanism, basically, a conversion event. We're going to get to the conversion process in a second. Cool. Which is going to be basically how to structure a sales process that keeps on selling for you. We're going to get to it. But we set up for him a conversion event, a conversion process. And we wanted people to come into that conversion process. So what did we do pretty much? All that we did is we set up organic content that pre-sold people on coming to his event. Okay. And the second thing is that he went out and he messaged people in his network who he has been getting into his world through outbound over months, and he invited them. What happened is he sent, I think, 20 invites. He got 12 people registered. Out of the 12 people registered, 12 showed up and 3 closed. Like, it's really that simple. If you start thinking about outbound rather than outbound equals sales, outbound equals traffic, outbound equals people in your world, outbound equals qualified people coming to you every single day. That's how I would look at it personally. And that's what's been working for us. You like my Starbucks cup? So this is how we generated 211 signups in one weekend. So back then, my partner pretty much had a small social following on Instagram. And what we've done is, by the way, his social following is very loyal. It's a MVA audience. So he was a performance coach. So what he did is every day he showed up, talked about performance, talked about his views on performance, shared the stories, took people into his world. By the way, this is a crucial point, like, show people behind the scenes of what you do and who you are. And he got people into his world. He got people seeing what he does and how he does and how he lives, and this created like this bond with people. And all that we had to do was literally set up one core lead magnet. Pretty much, we didn't even make a post about it. We made a story about it, and people signed up from the story directly. It's really that simple. Like, once you have a minimum viable audience, a lot of things in your life gets solved. Let's just say that a lot of things in your business get solved. It gets solved. Like a lot of people want to make it complex. It is not that complex. Business is not that complex. You have been indoctrinated, you have been nurtured, you have been, dare I say, brainwashed to think that business is complicated. It's not. So, second point, which is how to structure a sales process that keeps on selling for you. Now, when it comes to the sales process, now that we have traffic, so the first thing, we need people to see the thing that we're doing. The second step of the game is like, what is the thing that you're doing now that you have people seeing the thing? So the sales process for us in PCL, in my mentorship, and back then too, like with my partner before we exited the business, it was a pretty simple kind of philosophy or mentality. We don't want to slave away to get clients. We don't want to slave away to get clients. We don't want to slave away on connection calls. We don't want to slave away in endless messaging. We don't want to slave away in endless back and forth, voice notes, connection calls, strategy call number one, strategy call number two. We just didn't want that. And we really wanted something that would fit our lifestyle. We really wanted something that would fit, that would make sense fundamentally. Because if you think about it, like any big business or any proper business does not push so much to get clients. But now what people are teaching is like, you have to go, you have to push, you have to hustle, you have to grind. Well, in reality, it's not that big of a deal. So what we wanted is something that we could create once and keep on selling for us. And what we created was pretty much, this is part of PCL. So what we created is the sales process that sells people while you sleep. So what is the goal? The goal and the idea behind the sales process that sells people while you sleep is that I create one thing and it keeps on selling for me. Okay. For me to create one thing and keeps on selling for me, it has to have a purpose and it has to be able to be repurposed too. So what we created is this pretty much. So after we generate the traffic over here, and hopefully you can like take notes because like this is very important. It took me a lot of time to figure it out. So please just don't overlook that. What I wanted to do is after I get this traffic, I just didn't want to bombard them with a shit ton of content, a shit ton of ideas, a shit ton of novelty, a shit ton of whatever it is. I wanted those people to come into my world and get sucked in, pretty much. That's literally what I wanted to people. Like I wanted them to get sucked in. Because when your minimum viable audience is sucked into your world, they will keep on seeing your content, they will keep on seeing your work, they will be exposed to your stuff, they will see one piece of content that will resonate with them, they will message you. It's going to be like this very interactive relationship between you and your audience, which leads to much easier sales. And what we came up with kind of and what we looked at is the persuasion framework. So we looked at what are the things that people need to see in order to buy? What are the things that people need to understand in order to buy from you? And this is what we found. One second, please. Sorry, but from my voice, I don't know if you've realized I'm a bit sick. So sneezing is on the menu today, and I don't want to sneeze on camera. So pretty much when this traffic comes into play and the people come into our world, what we want to do is we want to have like a persuasion process or an ecosystem, a place where they can get the persuasion that they need without me having to push them to be persuaded. Now, what is the persuasion framework, or what do people need to see? For people need to be persuaded by you or by your business or whatever you create, they need to first want to learn from you and trust you and like you. So this is where content plays a big role. Let me move this. Great. So this is where content plays a big role, pretty much. So most people put so much effort and pressure on content to make the sale for them, when in reality, content pre-sells. It doesn't sell itself. So what does the sale? What is the thing that makes people ready to buy? The thing that makes the sale and makes people ready to buy is the offer. And a lot of times it isn't just one piece of exposure on the offer, it's multiple pieces of exposure on the offer. This is why we needed a sustainable ecosystem. Because if I knew that people needed to learn from me, trust me, and like me, and if I knew that people needed to see my offer multiple times before they were like, okay, I want to pull the trigger on this, then I needed to have a way, okay, to keep on showing my people content that helps them learn, trust, and like me. And at the same time, to keep on showing them my offer multiple times until they are ready to work with me. So we came up with this process, which is one, we create client whispering content. Client whispering content, by the way, is like, we're gonna get to it. It's on the bullet points. Don't worry. But my philosophy around client whispering content was easy back then and today. It's still the same. I just don't want to be a slave to creating content. I research a lot of content ideas, came across a lot of things like the gap framework, the sales templates. I came along with like a lot of those things, and they overwhelmed me. Like posting a shit ton, showing people different stuff, doing all of that. I just wanted like one core piece of content that I could create that would do the sale, that would help people learn from me, trust me, and like me, just in one piece of content. So I came up with the client whispering content. We're gonna get to the breakdown on what is the client whispering content. From the client whispering content, so let's say today I'm doing this breakdown. Cool. Let's say I'm doing this breakdown. I could write a piece of content around this breakdown. Then a couple of days later, I could run a lead magnet, which is like, hey, would you like to get access to the entire breakdown plus my editor notes on the breakdown, plus a couple of templates that I want to give you when it comes to helping you generate more clients in your business? So from this piece of content, so if this piece of content has been validated, I posted it and the market really liked it, I could take the same principle and turn it into a lead magnet. The market will be like, okay, I would like to learn more about that topic because the market told you, I want to know about that. So now I turned that into a lead mechanism. So this is what converts people into leads. Back then in the business, what we now it's boring when you look at it, but like what we led with is we created a piece of content around like how to really lose weight sustainably and get the abs that you want to get. And then it blew up. And then from that, we created a lead magnet, which is the weekend abs, pretty much, which is like a weekend training that you can do every single week and that will get you closer to getting abs. And from that, so once you have validated like this piece of content really works, you created a lead mechanism from it. So now this piece of content is getting you eyeballs, the lead mechanism is getting you leads, which takes us to the front end offer pretty much. And when it comes to the front end offer, it's pretty simple. We want people to be easily exposed to the front end offer multiple times. We don't want to hide the front end offer. By the way, there is a very big difference between front end offers and back end offers. And this difference is what makes a lot of money or loses a lot of money. I'll get to it. It's on the bullet points. Don't worry. So, how could we do that? So, if people came into my world, they gave me their email address. My job now is to send them emails, send them content, send them stuff that helps them learn from me, trust me, and like me. Okay. While showing them my front end offer. So I could link my front end offer in every single piece of email, pretty much, or in every single piece of content. Which again, what did I start with? I told you I don't want to slave away to generate clients. So I don't want to slave away in the DMs, nor with content to generate clients. So what we did is we came up with the client whispering content. So the client whispering content does all of that, all of the persuasion for you, pretty much. So within the client whispering content, one piece of content. So this piece of content can be turned into a lead mechanism. The same piece of content can have the offer within it for the people that are interested in taking the offer. The same piece of content can be turned into a email. The same email can be repurposed into another piece of content with the same angles. So what we did, for example, a couple of days ago, I had a piece of content that I posted, generated 2 high-ticket clients immediately, paid in full, no questions asked. So I was like, interesting, this is working. So rather than recreating the wheel, I was like, if this worked, what if I rewrite the same piece of content, just different angle, a bit of a different story. So now rather than recreating the fucking wheel every single time, I'm like, I know what's working, I know how it's working. All I have to do is take it and put it in front of people. Pretty much. There's nothing magic. Like, this is how you can sustainably grow a business. This is how you can generate clients with 2, 3, 4 hours a day, because you're not slaving away around topics and ideas and figuring out what to talk about and putting in the reps and putting in the work. Like, everything is leveraged. One piece of content generates you leads. One piece of content makes people trust you and like you. The same piece of content puts your offer in front of people. The same piece of content, you can turn it into a email, and the same piece of content you can repurpose into other pieces of content. That's a winner in my opinion. And another thing, another very cool thing that we figured out, but I don't know where to write this for you actually. Let me see if I could draw it up here. Okay, I have a bit of space here to draw it. So 1 second, let me just get my iPad up to speed, pretty much. So one key thing that we figured out too, and this is like a key thing, is that people who come into our world and they pay us high ticket prices. What the fuck is this? Hopefully by now you understand like how raw everything that I do is. So the people that came into our world and they paid us high ticket prices, they were not the people who became leads in the first place, actually. So what happened is that this is, let's say, a prospect or a lead online, okay? Rather than him becoming a lead and then paying us higher prices, what was actually happening is that they used to see our piece of content with the offer linked, and then they would immediately reach out to us. Immediately. For example, my first ever $10,000 paid in full client, zero engagement on my email list, zero engagement on my socials, didn't join my email list, didn't didn't comment. I didn't even know that he was on my socials. I'm trying to remember, like, where did I see the guy? I don't know where I saw the guy. Saw some pieces of content, messaged me, and he was like, Arnold, I like what you're talking about. Let's have a chat. Interesting. So that is all because of what? Well, simply a good client whispering piece of content that you can repurpose. Which now we are done with topic number 2, which is the sales process that sells while you sleep. So you create one piece of content that keeps on selling for you while you sleep. For example, here right now I'm doing this video. This video can be turned into a piece of content. This video can be turned into an email. This video can be turned into a lead magnet. So I could turn it into multiple things and keep on selling for me. This is exactly what I've done once in my email list. And I woke up to a message like from a guy who was like, Arnold, I'm ready to work with you. So what is the type of content that pre-sells for you? This takes us, by the way, guys, this is going to be pretty much very quick. Cool. Because like the principles that I need to nail are the foundations, which are those three. So the last three are going to be pretty easy. Don't worry, it's not going to be too long. And even if it's too long, I'm giving you everything. Stick with it. So takes us to the point, which is what is the piece of content that pre-sells people? For a piece of content to pre-sell people, fundamentally, we have an assumption to make, which is it has to get people to learn from us, like us, trust us, and at the same time, give them an offer, okay, to get them ready to buy from us. How to do that? There's too many things to do in the same piece of content. And this is where the client whispering content comes into play. Now, I cannot actually share everything about the client whispering content, not because I don't want to, but it's like we're already at 24 minutes. Client whispering content is a game by itself. And we do that supplemented with AI and processes and reading your prospect's mind, which is like a couple of hours of material. But the key thing about it is depth and proof. The key assumption that we made in our business that really worked out and made us a shit ton of money is that there is so much content out there. There is so much content out there. There are so many frameworks of content out there, like what to post, what to talk about, what to focus on. Like, what is the thing that people really want to hear? What is the thing that people really want to listen to? Like, do I really have to create multiple pieces of content per day, or every day a piece of content, gap framework, following the PAS copywriting framework. Like, do I really have to do all of that? What is like, it was kind of crazy, pretty much, in my opinion. So what we've done is very different. What we've done is very different. After a lot of testing, and this is why, like, I could talk about it because we tested a lot, thousands of pieces of content across my business and clients' businesses. We've realized a couple of things. Every single time a high ticket client reaches out, and we have a lot of case studies and proof on that, like over 63. Every single time this happened, every single time someone reaches out, books a call, high ticket client, qualified client, someone in your world, it was from a piece of content that went very deep on topics that they care about. And it showed a new perspective. While everyone out there, so think, imagine with me, everyone out there is creating content for the sake of content. Like, if you want to be happier, you have to become mindful. Here are my 3 steps for mindfulness. 1, read a book. 2, drink more water. 3, sleep well. No fucks, Sherlock. Really? You don't say. like this is most content nowadays versus going deep. So, if you want to be happier in your life, there are a couple of things that you need to look at. First, you need to look at your own shadow. Are you aligned with yourself deep down inside? Is the things that you are showing on the external world all the things that you are experiencing in your internal world? Are you in alignment with what you need to do? And usually, this misalignment comes from you when you were young, and from a father wound or a mother wound, and you can go deep and deep and deep down the rabbit hole. Now, you might think, like, Arnold, going so deep, by the way, this is my amazing drawing. This is shallow level content. This is deep level content, if you haven't realized that. So, going so deep, Arnold, wouldn't it push away prospects? No. And here's why. Imagine with me, who is a high ticket prospect? Who is someone who's willing to pay you a lot of money? He's someone that most probably has already been through a lot of experiences, has already been through maybe a couple of your competitors, has already seen a lot of content. This person doesn't want another piece of content that just talks about the same things, the same topics, the same subjects, the same ideas. This person wants novelty. This person wants a new perspective. Like, think about it, when a doctor, like, who are the doctors or who are the scientists that get prizes? They are the people who go so deep into something and they figure out something that creates a revolutionary breakthrough. Now, you don't have to create a revolutionary breakthrough, but you have to go deep. Stop trying to be shallow. Stop giving your clients a quick hit of dopamine. Go deep. Go deep on topics. Show them your expertise in every single piece of content. I have pieces of content that are 1,000 characters. I have pieces of content that are journals, pretty much. I have this YouTube video, it's like 30 minutes right now. But your people want to see what's happening, how to think, how to process. One of my clients created a YouTube video that is 32 minutes long, talking about the father wound and why his father wound was messing up his life, pretty much. How he wasn't confident because of his father wound, how he was messing up his dating life because of the father wound, etc. And people reached out to him in the dozens, in the dozens. And when they reached out to him, everyone linked this piece of content back, and they told him, like, I've seen so many therapy content, I've seen so many self-development content, but this, I've never seen that. They booked a call with him. A lot of them became clients. Why? Because he went deep. He went deep. Now, what happens when you go deep? When you go deep in your piece of content, you are allowed to now make an offer, because you created a new perspective and you showed someone. Like, for example, for my client, let's take the example of the father one, pretty much. So the father one, if you don't know what it is, like, I'm gonna give a very simplified example of it. It's not that simple, But basically, like someone who has a father complex, who has lived with a tough father pretty much, or things that he experienced with his father, maybe his father wasn't present or whatever it is, and he deals with problems in his current life that stem from his father's problems. Cool. Uh, when he created this piece of content around the father wound and showed people why their lack of confidence, their mindset problems, their dating problems, their relationship problems, all of that came from the father wound. At the end, he had the consent of people because he showed them a new perspective to tell them, like, look, I have a process that will help you release the father wound and heal the father wound once and for all. And this can only happen if I sit down with you one on one. So it is expensive. But for the people who are ready to move forward and change their life, I have a 4 step process. Click the link down below and move forward. And he booked more consultation calls that you could ever fucking imagine, pretty much. Why? Because he created a new perspective. Now, this is not the entirety of client whispering content. This is just a quick idea or quick, just to get your mind working around like what you believe content should look like versus what real content should look like, what real content that makes money should look like. Okay? Because the real content that makes money is completely different from this motivational, inspirational gap framework, PAS framework, quick hits, quick bullet points, like completely different, completely different. Okay. So now we have taken care of number 3, which takes us to number 4. And this is where things are going to be very fast. And this is where things I like what I'm going to show you right now a lot, because this is going to make you feel like, oh, that's something that I didn't know. So let's remove that because we need some space to draw a little bit. So the one offer tweak that allows your offer to sell itself. So back then our offer sold like hotcakes pretty much. Or actually I'm gonna say pancakes because I'm really craving pancakes. I'm gonna eat pancakes after recording this. So one offer tweak that will help you to sell your offer pretty much a lot and easily. So this is a front end offer. This is a back end offer. Now, what happened in the beginning state, like in the first month, what we did is we packaged up a very high ticket thing. I think it was like back then, $6,000. And by the way, like $6,000 isn't high ticket in any way, shape, or form. It's not very high ticket. It's just like high ticket. Okay. But the mistake that we've done is like we've priced a $6,000 package, 6K package, pretty much over, I think, 90 to 180 days. I really forgot the exact structure of the offer because like the last 5 years I've built shit ton of other offers. But anyway, and what happened was people were seeing the offer in the first month. People were coming into our world, but people didn't really take it. Some people did, full transparency. Some people did. But people, the majority of people who we saw clicked on the link, who we saw went to the landing page, who we saw see our work, who we saw like messaged us, they didn't take it. And then we asked a couple of people like, why didn't you take that? Like you said that you were interested. You messaged us. Why didn't you take the offer then? And they were like, back then, by the way, I was in the back end, so they didn't say my name. They said my partner's name. But my partner's name was CAK. Okay, so it was Sherbel Abu Khattar, basically. So it's like a long name, so CAK. Cool. So they said like, hey, CAK, look, the offer is really good and I really like you, but it's long and it's a big transformation and I don't know if I can commit to it. So this like triggered something in my mind. Like, what is an offer? An offer basically is me helping you. I'm giving you the best chance to achieve the outcome that you desire, basically, with the least risk involved. So risk equals time and money. So by me telling people that you're gonna get this outcome, but you're gonna have to have a lot of risk, so a lot of money paid up front over a long period of time, this was not something to promise to someone who you just fucking met. It's like you meet someone at the bar and you're like, okay, I like you. Let's get married. It doesn't work that way. First, let's go on a date. Let's see if we if things make sense. So pretty much this is where I came up with the idea of a front end offer versus a back end offer. A front end offer is a very specific offer, specific offer to get a very specific outcome over a shorter time frame and over a better price point. So what we came up with was 30 days, $750, access to WhatsApp messages, access to templated trainings and frameworks, and one consultation call over those 30 days. Now, what happened is every single person that took those 30 days, and that's, by the way, the power of actual delivery, like good delivery, which I'm not going to talk about today, but this is like where a lot of people lose money. The power of good delivery is that you get a lot of value to your clients. And what happened is every single person that took this moved on to the bigger package in the back end where they wanted more support, where they wanted more access. So now we were able to sell them at 1.5K per month over 6 months. So 1.5K per month over 6 months, that's $6,000. That's $9,000 approximately. So upfront, we've made $750, and here we've made $9,000. Why? Because here we showed them that I'm going to get you the outcome, and we got them the outcome. We proved to them. It's just like a marriage. I've met you. Hey, let's go on a date. Let's go on a date. Let's date first. Let's see if it makes sense. Let's see if our there's chemistry between us. Let's see if things flow. From here, let's get engaged. From there, let's spend our life together pretty much. It's just the same thing with a client relationship. Just the same thing with a client relationship. And the biggest mistake that I see people doing nowadays is they package up this big bundle of ideas. Like a couple of days ago, a client of mine messaged me and he was like, Arnold, he does deep hypnosis and subconscious transformations for his client. And he was like, Arnold, I want to create an offer for my people for 6 months for 10K. And I was like, great. So what is the equation of the offer? Outcome, minimal risk, right? What is risk? Equals time plus money. So you're telling me that you're going to get me the outcome that I want over 6 months, so a shit ton of time and a lot of money, 10K. That's what you're telling me. Great. And he was like, oh, you're right. So I told him, what if we do this? And this is what he did. What if we do this? What if we present a front end offer over 30 days to help people remove their biggest, so remove their biggest sabotaging behavior pretty much permanently for 3K. And by the way, those people who remove those big self-sabotaging behaviors, like some of his clients are people in like entrepreneurship, corporate. Their biggest sabotaging behaviors is literally costing them a ton of money. So 3K is nothing for that, pretty much. And after that, when you remove that and when you create this relationship with your people, then you take those people and you tell them, hey, now that we've removed this biggest sabotaging behavior, there are exercises that you need to do. There are other things that will come up that you need to deal with. So what if I put you into my longer term community where we move together, we work together, and pretty much this is how we segmented it. And his longer term community is going to be a 10K community. So now he made 3K on the front and 10K on the back end. This is how a lot of people need to make money. This is also why front end offers sell. So the one offer tweak that will make you money. The second thing that we covered is where most coaching businesses fail and where the 1% create real wealth. The 1% create real wealth not on the front end, but on the back end. On the front end, you make money. Wealth is built on the back end. In our business back then, what happened when someone used to take our 750 bucks per month initially, and then they would move to 9K for 6 months. What happened is we used to do something called ARR, which is ascension, retention, and referrals. So ARR equals ARR. Ascension, retention, referrals. Ascension, retention, referrals. So every single person that comes into your world, your first goal is to ascend them to something bigger. So don't keep him where he's at. Ascend them to something bigger. The second goal is once you ascend him, okay, you have to retain him there. So if he was paying us 750 bucks, now he's paying us 9K for 6 months. Our job is to make sure that he pays us another 9K for another 6 months. And the referral, how many people are they getting? How many people are coming into your world as referrals? This is essential. This is where most businesses are stuck. This is why so many businesses do big front end offers with big promises because they want to make so much money up front. Where in reality, my friend, the biggest amount of money that's being made in your business is in the back end. Is in the back end. Cool? So now that we've covered pretty much everything, what is my biggest mistake? The one that I wish I didn't make. And I'm going to be very vulnerable with you here pretty much because hopefully you don't make this mistake. Document every part of your business and of your journey and of what you've achieved and how you've achieved it. Have a list of documentation, have a resource of documentation, have a board of documentation, screenshots, proof, testimonials, case studies, SOPs, things that you figured out. Because first things first, I built this business, I exited this business 5 years ago. I don't have anything to prove for it other than my lifestyle. My lifestyle is pretty cool. I live in an expensive place. I consult a lot of good, powerful people. We build cool businesses. But other than that, I don't have anything. Anything. Uh, do I have processes? Zero. Zero. For 2 years after I exited this business, I sat down and I was trying to remember what we've done because I didn't have any documentation. Back then, like I wish that back then, for example, I had like videos, literally videos of us doing the cool things, meeting live, putting together, masterminding, planning, creating the resources, creating things. Like I wish. Now I don't. Literally, it's like this gap in the past, pretty much, where we don't have anything to show for it other than a couple of pictures with my partner. And even for now, if I want to find those pictures, I have to scroll back through my Google Drive 5 years ago. So the biggest thing that I would say, which is any level that you are in business right now, document videos, pictures, screenshots, SOPs, anything that you can create. Because what is normal now is going to be gold for tomorrow. Gold for tomorrow. So with that in mind, the 6 things that you can do that will help you grow your business, scale it, make a lot of money, and live a pretty good life. Bye bye.